Around the clock, because we've got to keep you posted on everything that's been going on. Earlier, around 11 o'clock, when the government held their news conference, Pierre Fitzgibbon, the minister, I forget what the reporter's question was, but I hated the answer. He said, well, look, it's not 1998. That's little comfort to you, no matter where you're living. But on the West Island, we just heard from Alex Patashi and DDO. And now Jim Beis joins us from Pierrefonds-Roxboro. Good afternoon.
Dan, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. I appreciate you taking the time. Well, actually, just before we got on the air with you, I got a text from a resident in your area asking about what's going on. A lot of people saying the same thing. I haven't seen a hydro truck. So what is the situation in your borough right now?
Well, look, right now I'm in the Pierrefonds Arena right now, the Sportsplex, where we've created a warming center, as some other communities have done, provide a little bit of relief to folks, charge their electronics. And this afternoon, we will be announcing our overnight shelter that we will be putting together so that folks that can't stay in their homes will have a place to go and sleep. The Red Cross will be confirming with us very shortly in terms of when that's going to open. Now, the issue in Pierrefonds, as is the case throughout the West Island, is that we have virtually unchanged the statistics on the West Island as a whole. And it's extremely frustrating for me because there are some crews on the ground. I have seen them. However, there's no change. So when I hear these types of statistics go up, that we've gone down by X percent and so many thousands of people, it hasn't had much of an impact on the West Island. And, and you mentioned it, when you're going through a crisis and you don't have electricity and you have children or elderly folks that are going through this, there's little relief in hearing some of these things that I've been hearing by a lot of the representatives. As hard as they're working to try to correct the situation, it hasn't made a big impact for us here on the West Island, and it's a bit discouraging, to say the least, for me.
Well, that's, they put that out that it's, we've got 1,500, they don't use the word troops, but it's the only word that came to mind, and they're out there and they're working around the clock, and that's great. But yeah, if you don't see it in your area, it's very frustrating. What are you hearing from residents in Pierrefonds-Roxboro?
Well, residents are for sure, first of all, there's an uncertainty there. When is it going to come back? And you mentioned, just to touch briefly on that, the number of employees that are doing an incredible job on the ground, to say the least. I mean, I saw in my neighborhood, a group of about 8 to 10 at one time. Was that one team? And then when you look at the numbers, how many tens are there, groups of 10 are there in that 1,500, 1,300, whatever the number is? We're looking at 130, 150 teams. Just that in itself, if you look at the island of Montreal, wouldn't be enough. And if we're talking about throughout Quebec, then you could really understand the numbers, that are missing, and trying to find solutions here. So the residents, of course, are also seeing this. They're also seeing that there aren't many crews on the road, understanding the resources and the limitations that they have, but extremely frustrating when we're not getting necessarily a timeline or a critical path to lead us toward getting back our electricity. And it's creating a lot of folks that are quite concerned over this situation. And our role as leaders in the community is to provide some relief, and this is what we're doing through not only the Sportsplex in Pierrefonds and with the eventual overnight center that is absolutely necessary as far as I'm concerned. And even if 10 people used it, at least 10 people would have a better place to sleep tonight if it was staying at home in the cold temperatures.
Speaking with Pierrefonds-Roxboro Mayor Jim Beis, and Jim, I actually just got a text into our text line at 514-800. Legault, north of Pierrefonds Boulevard, apparently just got power. Are you seeing power come back in pockets like this?
That's exactly what's happening. And I mean, certainly I've seen along the main arteries, if I look back at yesterday night compared to today, I mean, sure I have some power that's gone back on St. John's Boulevard, on Pierrefonds Boulevard for sure. Where I am here, near here, you see that some of the traffic lights are working. But you have to understand the way the grid works. I mean, these grids are not necessarily connected to large residential areas, throughout the territories, not only here, but throughout the West Island. And if it's a sign of things to come, certainly that is encouraging. I have to stay optimistic, but at the same time, we have a job to do to try to provide some support in any way that we can to the citizens. And we continue to do this. I just would hope that The statistic I heard earlier today by them saying that some may still be out till Monday.
Yeah.
I can only imagine that those folks have to live through this, not only this weekend with the temperatures being the way they are, but a long Easter weekend. You can imagine the concern it's causing with the citizens for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're in the arena. Will you keep us posted on when the overnight shelter will be open?
We will do that, and we will make sure that that's sent out. You see, the other major problem we have is communications. I mean, a lot of folks don't have access to any internet or their phones, and so this is why we're relying on the media outlets like CJAD and others to do that for us. And as soon as we know, we will make sure that we send that out accordingly.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jim. Good to talk with you.
Thank you, and good luck, everyone.
That's Jim Beis, Mayor of Pierrefonds-Roxboro.